Hey, thank you for joining me. This is Tony with Sports Cartel. So, we're getting reports that the Bulls want to let go of Jake White. I think there's some unity. People are pissed off that the Bulls, they're not happy. So, supposedly, it was Kotsia and Nokia. They went to management and said, we want this guy gone and we don't trust in his leadership. So I'll be honest, I'm not really surprised by that. But in this video, we're going to have a look at what could have led to this and why the Bulls want to let go of Jake White and why they should let go of Jake White. And is Ackermann, because he's the name that has been floating around in terms of the next guy in the hot seat at the Bulls, is he the right guy, Johan Ackermann? Is he the right guy to take the Bulls forward? We'll look at that and I'll give my views on that. So let's dive in. Thank you for joining me. It's a Sunday, so let's jump in. So I'm going to play a few clips of what Jake White has been saying, especially before the final against Leicester, the URC final against Leicester, as well as the aftermath of the final against Leicester. Especially, I was a little bit disappointed. Right after the game, he said some funny stuff. So here are the clips.
Because they're only allowed to play 23. So they've got many more internationals than we've got. And I repeat myself, Nick, it's not done with any. They are the benchmark of where every club team wants to get to. Any team that can have a meeting with their board. And Nick, so I think, as I said, they're the benchmark of where all the teams want to go. And I sit as a director of rugby, and you think about it, if you have a board meeting and you ask for a tight head prop and you get Rabbi Simelani, and you ask for a lock and you get Erkes Snyman, and you ask for an inside back and you get Jordy Barrett, there are not many clubs in the world that would be able to sit into a board meeting and not firstly get that, and secondly, not only get the positions, get that caliber of player. So, as I said, Leo's right. We've got better, and our team is growing, and we are much better than we were 4 years ago when this group started. I mean, I said to Ruan when I walked in, he was 21 when he started playing, and he's now 26. And a lot of his teammates from juniors were in that team. So Grobler, who plays hooker, Gerard Steenkamp. And I need to sit with, I suppose, decision makers and just find out what we need in order to go step up. Next year we signed Andre Pollards, who's come in as a 10. Signed Jan Serfontein, who's a real young prodigy that from the thing was at Montpellier. So that again is two really good signings. Paul de Vet, the scrum half from the Stormers, who's coming to join us. And Nicolas Janssen from Rinsburg, who's a lock flanker who's played at Montpellier and played Springbok rugby as well. I'm not for one of them saying that's going to solve it, but we're going to have to have a look and see what else we need in order for our team to go to the next level. Because there's no doubt that Leinster won't come backwards. Leinster will continue going forwards. And that's why we're going to have to find a way. If we're going to win this competition in the next couple of years, we're going to have to beat Leinster. There's no doubt in my mind about it. It's just by chance they haven't been in the finals in the last 4 years. Just by chance. And I'll say it again, no other team has played them with a full-strength team in a knockout game.
So as you can see and you can hear, I don't think that a lot of people, especially the players as well as management, would be happy with what he was saying in these clips. Especially I think in one of the clips you would have seen he had Ruan Nokia sitting right next to him, and I'm sure that was very uncomfortable. Because basically you're saying you're not trusting your players, you don't believe in them, and you believe that they're going to get beaten. I had a lot to say about this when I did the review for the URC champs, and I noted that it was bound that there would be people that would be unhappy or even uninspired to actually play for him. So this is what I said. Firstly, how does it happen that your coach spends most of the run-up to the game when he's speaking to us, the media, talking about how great the other team is and they can't compete? I don't know if that would give me any confidence. And Jake White has been doing that the whole week, talking about that they're playing the Irish team. And everyone knows that Leicester is basically an Irish team. But that doesn't mean that you cannot compete. That doesn't mean that you have to talk about that all the time and make it your main focus. How about you try your best? That's what sports is. Otherwise, just don't try and get to the final. Don't go to the final. Give up. So if you've been following the Bulls, especially from, I would say, mid-URC campaign to the end, Jake White has been banging on about the lack of Springboks and, we should bring Springboks back and we are understaffed, we can't compete against the Leicester and all of that stuff. And it got a lot of attention, but at that time I didn't really want to go into it because it was like, this guy's just always complaining and stuff like that. But even the Saru CEO, Rian Oberhoza, actually said that he's not gonna be bringing back Springboks or senior players back into the country en masse. It's not affordable. Economically, it's not affordable. And I also believe in that. It's economically feasible to actually do that. So I'm sure Checkwad is upset with that. But one of the things that actually got under his skin was the Kirtley Arendse situation, where Kirtley left on a sabbatical and he wasn't coming back in time for the playoffs and blah, blah. And bear in mind, at that time he had de Klerk, who was blazing it up, playing good rugby. And in the media, you keep on complaining about a guy that is not there and to some extent doesn't want to be there because he's earning well or whatever he's doing in Japan. So why can't you just concentrate on what you have and move on with that, But I did a little bit of an exercise. I wanted to look at what Jake White has done when he was coaching outside of the country, at Montpellier, at Brumbies, and so forth and so forth. So that's what we're going to look at, what he's done when he was coaching outside of the country. So when Jake White in 2008, when he had lost the Springboks job, one of the first things that he did is that he was a consultant of some sort for Toulon, and he actually helped Toulon in France set up a scheme of how to recruit South Africans. He helped them set up an academy to recruit South Africans into Toulon systems. And if you are aware of how the French do things, and it's not for South Africans only, but the people that they recruit, it's with the aim of actually playing for France. They're recruiting for people that are most of the time eligible to play for France. So he was part of that recruitment. And then when he was at the Brumbies, he recruited 2 South Africans when he was there. And he was the one who reached out to them. It's not the other way around. He reached out to these South Africans and said, hey, come over. But even worse than that, he helped the Brumbies through the Brumbies University. The University of Canberra. He helped them set up a scheme where they'll bring over young South Africans so that they can go to varsity fully paid for, sort of like a bursary type of thing, with an aim of having a pathway into the Brumbies and ultimately having a pathway to Australia. All right, so it's Toulon. He's setting up a structure there to recruit South Africans. Brumbies, he's setting up a structure there to recruit South Africans. When he goes to Montpellier, he recruits 11 South Africans. 11 South Africans in 1 year, 1 season. 11 South Africans. At the end, he'll recruit 14 South Africans for the 3 years that he was there. Right? And if you remember, this is where like Bismarck was there, went there. Yanni du Plessis went there when he was there, and all the other guys went there when he was there. When he was at Toyota Vaucluse in Japan, he recruited 9 South Africans when he was there. All right, I think they even gave him a farewell because he did so well. And I think at some stage, that Toyota Vaucluse actually won the league when he was there, because supposedly the players were able to talk to each other because they were talking Afrikaans, and which means they could play better and blah 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 blah. So 9 South Africans when he was at Toyota Vaucluse. But the one interesting thing, which is a little bit irritating, is when he actually finally got to the Bulls. All right, and that's why I say they should let him go. He gets to the Bulls and he does this restructuring. Some of the players that he let go in his restructuring are the same players that he's complaining that he doesn't have. People with experience and Springbok players. So you talk about players like Dean Grayling, okay, Marcel van der Merwe, Chris Smith. He's not a Springbok, but he let him go. And Jason Jenkins. Those were some of the guys that he let go. But one of the first moves that he did, which was a blasphemy, in actual fact. If you're saying you can spot talent, all right, and you know what talent, at the moment, basically the Bulls don't have a flower off. Corson is almost forever injured and is always out of form. And Johannes is a young guy, but I don't think his ceiling is high enough to get into the space. And that's why they've recruited Pollard for next season. But you let go of Mannie Libbok, who now, in actual fact, is probably number 2 or 3 in South Africa. All right, you let him go. So you can't pick that up. One of the first things you did was let him go. And then you recruit Simelani, and you don't play him in his position. You play him at wing and you play him at fullback. And finally, the guy is so pissed off that he leaves. And for me personally, Wandile has done well in terms of what he's doing at the Stormers, and is actually still going to get better. And bear in mind, Wandile was meant to go to France when he left the Lions. He chose to stay in the country which you claim to want. But when you recruited him from the Lions, you're not playing him in his position until the guy's frustrated to leave. And I'm sure Dobo's going to do something good with him there. I think within a year or two, he should be knocking in the Springboks door. I'm not saying he's going to play there, he's going to get a chance, but he should be up there because the guy is super talented and you messed him about. Now, what do I think is going to happen? Right? I think the Bulls need to let him go. I think they are going to let him go because once the players start saying they don't have belief in you or trust in you, yeah, your days are numbered. And also the fans are a little bit pissed. I'm not a Bulls fan, but I'll be pissed because the guy has been there for how long now? He's only won like a Curry Cup or something like that. And he's complaining about Leicester, who can never beat Leicester. But last year you beat Leicester. Fair enough, it was at home. But if you look at that performance last year and the performance this year, it's day and night. So basically, the Bulls are regressing under your watch. And you keep on saying you want Springboks, but you let players with talent go. So I think maybe Jake White's time as a frontline coach, maybe he can become a consultant or something like that, but as a frontline coach, maybe the game has just gone past him. He can't, motivate and get the guys playing a winning brand. And you might say the Bulls got to the final, but yeah, the Bulls got to the final with that big paycheck or that a lot of Springboks. Making the final should be the minimum. Actually, making the semifinals and winning the semifinals should be the bare minimum for the Bulls. The amount of money that they spend on that squad and how many people they've got back and so forth and so forth. So yeah, I think the game has moved past him, and the mere fact that he had 12 Springboks, current and past Springboks, in that match day 23 when he played against Leicester, how much more do you want the whole Springbok team to play for you to win? I don't know, man. So the question is should Ackermann be the guy that takes over? I think so. I think what he did with the Lions when the Lions were kicked out of Super Rugby, and there were people who thought that the franchise was just gonna get messed up, but he recruited smart, guys that were let go by other provinces. He saw something and molded them and became a team, and they made 3 finals. Of course, they didn't win one, but they made 3 finals. Super Rugby played 1 away, I think, and 2 at home or something like that. So I think he's the one to actually put them together. And they were playing a brilliant brand of rugby, So, yeah, I think Ackermann should take it. I wonder what you guys think. And, oh, by the way, please, man, guys, a few of you guys are watching the videos and you're not liking the videos and you're commenting. And also you're not following, some of you guys. So please do follow, please do like the video. I was aiming for 1,000 subs by the end of July, but I think we can make it before then, and I'm really pushing that we can make it before then. So yeah, please do engage with me downstairs. Let me know. I think his time is up. What do you think? I think they should give him a second chance, third chance, fourth chance. I don't know how many chances they've given him. To be his 5th season is around next year. So yeah, cheers, Tony.